Ladies and gentlemen, so today I wanted to do a bit of a feature video on a champion that I feel does not get enough love. Masacre is one of my favorite characters to be released last year. I think he's such a useful champion, has so much damage output potential, and especially for variant as well. If you get like a 5-star version of this dude and take him up to rank 3, or get lucky enough to pull the 6-star version, you are going to have a very, very fun time and a much easier time on some of the most difficult fights when it comes to variant, mainly the Iron Man Infinity Wars. He's actually really decent for dealing with those, because those are immune to ability accuracy reduction, poison, and bleed. So yeah, a champion that does a lot of incinerate damage comes in handy there. Now also it's worth noting, Masacre is a great champion because he doesn't need to be awakened, and his awakened ability pretty much does nothing. It's a very small bonus for the character, gives him a little bit more power gain and a little bit more crit whenever his bat is not ignited, which can help at the start of the fight, but again, it really does not make much difference at all. So pretty much all of this is possible and more with an unawakened version of Masacre. So just as a bit of a heads up there, and if you get the 6-star one, it's going to be much better than a lot of the stuff that you're seeing today, because this is a 5-star one at rank 3. Now we're going to be having a look at one of the most annoying fights to do in 100% variant chapter 1, the Iron Man Infinity War. This guy's immune to bleed, poison, and also any modifications to his ability accuracy. But luckily with Masacre, once you get the bat ignited, there is a ton of incinerate damage. So in this matchup, we're trying to focus on getting as much incinerate damage as possible. So we're trying to get the bat ignited by hitting into his block and also getting lucky and striking crits. Those are the ways to gain those ignition charges. But also hitting a target that's incinerated is another way to get those. So we're also charging up to the special 3 as well to get a pretty big incinerate there. Whenever Masacre's bat is ignited, it's going to slap a load of incinerate on whenever you use a heavy attack as well for each strike of the bat. So it's just really good for kind of the standard Iron Man Infinity War strategy of trying to counter his heavy attacks with yours, and you can see as well the heavy attack is a great way against an incinerated opponent to get the bat ignited as well. So he works just surprisingly well in this matchup. We definitely have already made a couple of mistakes, like blocking the special 2 and taking, a little bit too much damage there, and obviously with Iron Man Infinity War you are subject to him trying to throw the heavies as much as possible, but really Masacre, you're just looking to heavy counter while incinerated, get the bat ignited again. You can see we've got 8 charges from that heavy attack there. Absolutely phenomenal. We're just kind of beating into him now, trying to get that final charge, trying to get that bat ignited once again. We just about get the last stack of ignition, while also, building up to a special 3 here. Very important as well. Getting those stacks of incinerate up, and there we go. We've got the special 3. We decided to fire it off a little bit too early there, so we do lose the damage bonus. However, we've got him in our sights. We slap down that Molotov cocktail, chuck that big old incinerate on him, and he's also got quite a few stacks as well. So it's just kind of a case of like finding the interval now to spam those heavy attacks so we can keep those incinerates up, keep the bat ignited, and the incinerates can wear him down very nicely there. So you can see this just works so well for the Iron Man Infinity Wars. Now, I'm going to be a bit cautious here because below 15% we've got the auto block, but you can see already the incinerate is doing a very nice amount of damage. We throw off a heavy attack there, get a very nice opportunity. He's got tons of incinerates on, and he just dies. So that was a really great time there, man. Masacre, so much fun for that matchup if you can play aggressively, spam those heavy attacks and keep the bat ignited. Another one of Masacre's strengths is he's actually quite good for masochism nodes as well, because you've got so many debuffs firing off at the enemy. If you've got a lot of points in the Despair Mastery as well, this can really help to significantly mitigate the healing and just make it very easy to play around for the most part, because you got so much triggering off for the incineration and also the special 1. And also the special 1, if you fire it off, you're going to see here we also have a minus 50% ability accuracy reduction as well as 3 stacks of bleed. So yeah, now that I've got 3 out of 3 in Despair, man, he's actually just so much fun to play against these nodes. And you can see this is the Masochism Carnage, so this is a bit of a damage check, and most champions can get around this fairly easily at rank 3. It does take a little bit more time, and if you watch the Black Panther gameplay recently, I think it was like 100 and a bit hits to get this Carnage down. But you can see Masacre kind of just has some more equipped tools to deal with this matchup with all the debuffs that he's chucking off, and all the healing reduction that is provided by the Despair Mastery mastery as well. And I think one of the very interesting things I noticed in the first matchup with X23, when we had, I think it was like 6 bleeds and 10 incinerates, the buffet node, instead of healing, actually dealt 1 damage to X23, and you can go back, you can rewind and check, but it was a really, really odd moment. So yeah, that happened as well, but as you can see, you know, the more debuffs, the less healing. It works really, really well as an insane combo with the Masteries of Massacre. It just means that you can have, you know, very straightforward and easy Massacres and matchups against a fair few opponents there. But Carnage absolutely smacked their boys. Another tremendous victory for our boy Masacre. Next up, we have probably one of the most fun fights. It's not like a really difficult one, but it was just a really, really fun one to do. So this is the Spite Rhino. Obviously, here we got the class advantage. So yeah, this is a very, very interesting fight. We're just trying to play as aggressively as possible. And if you are, you know, picking up Masacre as a character, you are never going to find this champion too useful until you can get used to a very, very aggressive playstyle. But if you can pull it off, and if that's your playstyle, you are absolutely gonna love this lad. He is just so much fun. So here you can see we are playing tremendously aggressively. We need to get that bat ignited, we need to keep it ignited, and we need to keep on piling on those incinerates as much as we possibly can, while trying to bait out the special attacks of Rhino with a bit of power flood as well. But here you can see we get an awesome incinerate refresh, 12 stacks, like, you know, it's dealing 1,600 damage from the incinerate alone every single second, and he's just absolutely melting there. Just such a great Rhino kill, 120,000 health, just absolutely mints there, boys. You know, I love this lad, man. So much fun as a rank 3. Now, next up, one of the biggest advantages that we've kind of already covered to a certain extent of fighting in Ultron's Assault variant, where you have so many Ultron drones and they're all immune to bleed and poison, is the fact that they're not immune to incinerate. So that's a really, really good time for a champion, you know, that does a ton of incinerate damage. So we're going to show a couple of fights, one against this Ultron drone here, and then one of a full one-shot of the final Ultron drone boss, who is a mutant one, so we do have, you know, reduced attack on that. But still, I was pretty impressed with his performance in that fight and this fight, so I wanted to share it, man. Like, bringing out Masacre and testing him in variant, I think has given me, you know, a bit of a new love for this champion, and I'm really, really hoping the next time I open a 6-star crystal, this guy is in it as an unawakened 6-star, because again, he doesn't really need his awakened ability. It's a very small thing, it's a very nice to have, and also his playstyle is so fun, man. It's so incredibly fun. I'm just a little bit gutted we didn't kind of find a good excuse or scenario to fire off a special 2, but I think really from playing Masacre a fair bit, the scenarios where you can actually get a very powerful special 2 off are quite rare, but you know, if you got the special 2, man, because what the special 2 does is it significantly increases the damage if the opponent is blocking, but then also via his special 1, ability accuracy reduction, it also reduces block proficiency, and also having incinerate reduces block proficiency by 50%, and both of these stacks, so you need kind of the special 1, the incinerate, and then you fire off a special 2, and it's a mega damage there. So yeah, that's a bit of a cool thing, but in practicality, it's a little bit hard to pull off, and I think for maximum damage, the majority of the time, you really just want to kind of spam special 1 to try and stack those incinerates as high as you possibly can, because if you can get a really, really big stack going, then the damage is just absolutely crazy on those incinerates. So as we were talking about earlier, this is the final Ultron drone boss in, the second quest. He is the Electro one. Very, very annoying to fight, just because he has so much health, man. I think on the free-to-play live stream, it took me like 300 hits or something to do this a rogue. Like, it was such an incredibly long time, man. Felt like we would find this dude for hours, because he is a very, very chunky lad, and he's even chunkier when you do have the class disadvantage as well. But what we're trying to do here is just really get as many stacks of incinerate as possible, and kind of keep that tempo going by refreshing them as quickly as we possibly can. So we've got 14 stacks there, managed to get a very, very nice special 1. Again, this being a robot, we are losing a little bit of damage because we cannot bleed this Ultron drone as well, so, you know, it's a little bit annoying, but here here, I mess up. I was a little bit too slow at connecting the special one, and I lost like 10 stacks of Incinerate, man. Absolutely gutted like a fish, boys. Very, very annoying. And this Ultron drone, being Electro, his specials are fairly quick to bait out. I'm trying to play it as safe as possible with the special one, but if I do have the opportunity to push through to the special 2 and kind of do a very, very quick dash back on that, I'm taking it the majority of the time. But yeah, it's just one of those cases, man. You've got to see where you're at in this fight. I'm kind of thinking strategy-wise, it's all important to focus on staying alive, and if I can get, you know, a stack of over 10 Incinerates, you know, it's a great time, ladies and gentlemen. It is a really, really good time. We've got a stack of 16 ticking there, doing some very, very nice damage. Just about managed to get a very clutch refresh there. We are going in, absolutely beating the crayons out of this lab. We get up to 17, 18, 19 stacks, 21 stacks, and then I think we do end up losing quite a few here, and we also kind of mess up that special one evade a little bit, but you know, there was some fairly decent damage going on there, and it really does all add up through the course of the fight, having a very, very strong damage over time effect like that. So we're at 159 hits. We've taken off just over 200,000 so far. Again, it's a rank 3 champion, no boost, class disadvantage, and there we go. We're battering this final Ultron drone down, 167 hits, and there we go. Final special one is about to do it. 174 hits for an Ultron drone with about 250k, which is not too bad, man. A pretty decent performance there. So overall, Masacre, he's not the best champion in the game, but he's pretty good, and he can definitely get the job done if you're playing it very, very well. Hope you enjoyed this video. Smash that like button, share it with your alliance, take care, and have an absolutely fantastic day.